So yeah, that rant video really exploded. I got a ton of comments and most of them were pretty positive, but there were a few oddballs in the mix. None of them were super too bad, any of them that were outright offensive I just flat removed from the channel. But there were a few oddballs in here and some of them were kind of disagreeing to me to the point where I don't think they really understood the point I was trying to get through. And some of them were just flat out trying to kind of pick a bone with me, so we're going to just go through a few of them. And as naturally, I don't think I need to point out, but just for my own sake, don't go after these people, don't look them up, don't do any of that fun stuff. And yeah, let's get into it. So Mr. Andrew 2 here is basically saying I jumped on the Life for Real bandwagon with all these other YouTubers who are actually pointing out major flaws in the game. What Mr. Andrew 2 probably doesn't know, because this is probably the only video of mine he's ever seen, is that this is something I've been doing for the longest time. If he took 2 seconds to actually go through my channel, he'd realize half of my videos are me covering issues about the game. Now, I don't blame him entirely for not doing that, but he should probably check before he makes bold statements like that. He also tries to reference my What Keeps You Playing video, which means he actually did go through my channel, but evidently he didn't watch it if he's basically trying to compare this video to what I just said in the other one. In the What Keeps You Playing video, I stated that what keeps me playing is the gameplay and story. If you actually watch this Rant video, then you would notice I didn't complain about the actual gameplay and story. I complained about the balance issues, but as far as the game mechanics and all that goes, I have no quarrel with. But yeah, as far as the whole bandwagon thing, like I said, I've been doing this. Hell, I want to almost dare say I made the bandwagon. Rio just got it rolling. So the Grim Reaper 7 here is basically asking, why don't I try playing something else? And my simple response to that is, I have been playing something else. In fact, for the past maybe 2 or 3 weeks, I have a grand total of maybe 9 hours on Warframe. I've been playing a lot of Black Desert Online and Monster Hunter mostly to fill my time before Fortuna comes out. And it's probably going to stay that way until Fortuna comes out, because really, there's nothing for me or most people doing Warframe these days. Most people being veterans, of course, before I get that one guy. But I'm going to kind of merge this guy's comment with this other dude's comment, being a Mr. Wari Zik, I think that's how his name's pronounced. Basically asking the same thing, why don't I just play a different game? And once again, it's the same answer. I've been playing different games. I'm basically borderline taking a break from Warframe, only ever getting on to actually cover something about the game itself. But yeah, I really love when people keep telling me to play a different game and then they don't know that I've been doing that. Small pro tip, don't tell someone to go play something else if you can't see their Steam or you're not in the Discord to see what I'm playing. Because anyone who's in my Discord probably knows very damn well that I haven't been playing Warframe a lot lately. So Mr. Farhan Pons kind of got stuck on the comment when I said the Warframe community is both the best and worst community I've ever seen. Now, this is one of those situations where he really stuck on the part where I said one of the worst communities, but instead of one of the best communities, and he's not the only one guilty of this. Now, I tried to make it as clear as possible that Warframe is the best and worst community I've ever seen. I didn't say the community is terrible, I said it's very split when it comes to both being toxic or great. Something he tries to throw in is the age-old argument of, have you played other games? And like I said previously, yes, I've been playing other games. Yes, I've played League of Legends, yes, I've played Counter-Strike, and yes, I've played Overwatch. Those communities are pretty toxic in their own rights. But I've also played Warframe, and I've seen the toxicity Warframe has offered. Hell, try to spend 6 minutes in the forums and try to point out a known bug. Try not to get your head chewed out by the White Knights in there. As said before by many other people, including myself, Warframe is one of the best communities out there. You have plenty of people trying to help out new players, and new players trying to spread the word of the game. But, like any community ever, it's full of a lot of bad apples. And some of those bad apples can go around making the whole experience miserable. I tried to go into detail about that in my rant video, but yeah, essentially, the community is either awesome or unbearable to deal with. It kind of just depends what side of the neighborhood you're in, I guess, figuratively speaking. I just found this comment by Nilman pretty funny, how he's quoting about how I just said someone had to do it and how I was ready to be the lightning rod to this community's backlash. And he's essentially telling me to stop acting like there's going to be backlash or any kind of negative fallout, as he writes a paragraph of backlash and negative fallout. Kind of just funny irony there. So this comment by Mattox O Tech was kind of interesting. He basically agreed with everything I was saying, but he had to kind of go and throw dirt at Life for Rio at the same time. I just found it kind of odd how me and Rio are essentially on the same page when it comes to this, but apparently Rio is in the bad. I just found this one kind of weird, honestly. So this guy, Generic Man, he kind of points out a few things I could have probably covered a lot better, admittedly speaking. First thing he points out is how the balance issue, I wasn't entirely clear about that, how I really don't want our Warframes to be so stupidly powerful you can basically play the game AFK. In fact, DE's been working against that for years now. But the biggest thing I was trying to point out was how we can't really have challenge if we're too strong, but at the same time, if we want to keep the whole power fantasy thing going, we can't just keep crowbarring a Warframe's knee every single time they're showing to be too strong. He does make a good point though about how if Oberon was both supportive and offensive, he would arguably probably be the only Warframe anyone would play. But again, that can be counter-argued with maybe Oberon's just boring to use, so that's why he would use a different Warframe, but that's a whole different argument on itself. This was something I got a lot, and I think that's one of the biggest reasons I picked this comment was the whole time gating thing. I could have gone into more detail about the time gating, but again, it was a rant, not really a formal, scripted, properly structured video. I understand the purpose of the time gating in Warframe, but my main complaint was that it was just too much. Time gating does help push people to buy Platinum, which in turn funds DE's everything at this point. But at the same time, like I said in the video, 3 days to make a Warframe or 24 hours to make a Forma a Catalyst, that's just kind of borderline ridiculous in my opinion. So that was something I probably should have clarified more. Also, his last bit there, make a new account and play again. Yeah, no. So Lil Wavy here was kind of an interesting comment. He's essentially asking, making sure I know that DE is full of people who have jobs and have lives and can't just dedicate 24 hours of their existence to Warframe, even though they probably already borderline do. And I just want to point out that, yeah, I know DE is just full of, people working on a game. The main issue I have with DE right now is that they don't really know how to prioritize certain things properly. Essentially speaking, if you're going to make a giant open world update like Fortuna, you need to be able to fill in the gaps of time before it's released. I know they have lives and they have limitations and they're people who get tired, but the fact stands is that they're still a company that needs to produce a product. If they can't keep up the expectation quota to at least the bare minimum, then the game itself is going to start suffering, which isn't going to help them at all in the long run. So this was a comment I actually kind of liked by Angel Vela. He does point out he doesn't mind waiting 3 days for a frame, but, to each their own. But we're on the same page when it comes to waiting 24 hours for a freaking Forma or a Catalyst. Yeah, that's pretty stupid. Again, with the whole time gating thing, like I said before, I understand that it's needed for a free-to-play game like Warframe, but there's a lot of things that I think they really need to just kind of churn down. Same thing to the Scarecrow, once again. I know that DE needs to make money off the time gating. It's just the amount of time gating that's a serious issue. So here we have a comment by D. Dracon. I'll spare you the whole thing. Essentially, this is the giant, but it's free argument. And because it's free, that means I'm not allowed to complain about it. So that's basically what that boils down to. So I got a fun one from Tony Cookston, or Cookson. Yes, I would like cheese with my wine. And yeah, I kind of do want content so I can make videos for said content. I never stated anywhere I want the game to end. Yes, the story is ever evolving. I would happily go make some content for the game if I was a game designer. Good for you for using most of the weapons and frames. I never said anywhere I want Warframe to be like Destiny. I will be playing Fortuna then. I probably will be called Two-Faced for making Fortuna videos specifically by you. If that's how you perceive the video, then so be it, I guess. And no, I will not be making Destiny videos. I don't like Destiny. So there was a lot of comments like Mr. Karasumi person here. People took me way too freaking literal when it came to the Tigress Prime comment. Yes, I know there's different weapons that are better than the Tigress Prime. It was supposed to be an example that everyone apparently took way too freaking literally. I loved especially the guys who kept saying how X weapon is better with a Riven, and that just kept leaving me facepalming saying, well no shit if it has a Riven. But yeah, anyone who took the freaking Tigress Prime comment super seriously, stop it. So I'm just gonna leave these two comments here together and let you guys go ahead and read them. I just like how this guy is basically chewing off my head while the guy below him is saying there's no such thing as toxic players in Warframe. So Yeah, you can get a good laugh out of that one. Boom Slang CA. 3 minutes and 2 seconds. That's when I stopped listening to this. And that's when I stopped reading your comment. So Brad Pope is another one of those instances where they only heard the worst community part. I did say again that Warframe's community is a two-sided coin. I didn't say it was a single hive mind being. The main issue when it came to that specific part about the community portion of that video was that we have one side of the community is trying to push the game left and the other side is trying to push it right. As a collective whole, I think the community should all be aiming straight, but allow some detours to left and right now then, but ultimately go north, if that analogy makes any sense to any of you. So one from Damien D, another bandwagon comment. Like I said earlier, I've been making videos talking about the elephants in the room when it comes to Warframe. I know not a lot of other YouTubers can actually say this because I became known as that guy that kept breaking up the issues and I wanted to talk about. But again, whatever floats your guys' boat. So I got one from Marco Ramirez who basically asked, if I felt this way about the game for 5 years, why did I stick around with it? And the essential answer to this question, because I get this one a lot, is, as he kind of pointed out himself, it wasn't the case for all 5 years. The first 3 years of Warframe were probably the best gaming years of my life. The first 3 years of Warframe, there wasn't a day I didn't stop playing, almost. The only time I stopped playing Warframe was when Dark Souls 3 came out, but then I just got right back on Warframe. You don't spend 4,600 hours on a game and then just dump it like it's nothing. Warframe literally consists of almost a quarter of my life, and that's saying something. Yeah, I may have grown into an old, crusty, angry veteran, but the point stands that I just want this game to reach its full potential. I'm not trying, like I said in the beginning of the video, to make it look bad, to slander it, to say it's the worst game ever. I'm trying to point out the issues so that way we can all work together and fix them. And that was the ultimate goal of that rant video, I guess. You have to recognize there's a problem in order to fix it. But yeah, that's a small bundle of comments that essentially answered a lot of the different ones I saw there. I might make a part 2 to this depending on how many more comments I get, but essentially, yeah, that's gonna cut it there. Let me know what you guys think about this whole scenario down below. If you've got your own comments and concerns, let me know in the comments section below. I'm the Reaper Hunter. I'll catch you all later.